I had forewarning that something was going to happen, but to run in like that and do that, yeah, it was fucking insane. It was crazy. I'll tell you this though, I have a dolly at my house. I have a dolly round the side. When we moved from America, the people that moved all my furniture from England to America, they left the dolly in the house. And I use that dolly now and again. This furniture behind me is very, very heavy. Whenever I move that, I use the dolly. That dolly is heavy as fuck. Yeah. The fact that Conor could pick that up and throw that through the air, fair play, fair play. I mean, he was definitely charged up. Let's just say that. He was very, very charged. His adrenaline was flowing. You hear about women being able to pick up a car if their baby is underneath it. Well, Conor certainly had some extra help, and he picked up the dolly. And it was a good shot.
Yeah. I've also been pretty charged up in my life as well, Mr. Bisping.
Yeah. So that was that.
I mean, look, here's the thing. I don't want to, and I know.
There were some fisticuffs thrown as well. I'm pretty sure I read online or saw somewhere one of the UFC employees got punched in the face a couple of times.
Really?
And, it was an embarrassing scene. Let's be honest. I mean, I'm having a laugh about it now when we're making fun because it happened last week and the dust has settled. But it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for Conor. Joe Rogan said Saturday night on the UFC that it was pathetic behavior. And if I'm honest, it was. Now, I'm not trying to throw him under a bus. I don't need to throw him under a bus. In fact, to be honest, a lot of people online are still supporting him. They admire the fact he was looking after his friend. I still don't, I can't condone that behavior. As Dana and everybody said over the weekend, the fact that he fights in the UFC, if he wants to fight Artem Lobov, he has the platform to go out there and fight him professionally and make a lot of money and beat the shit out of him if that's what he wanted to do. But they didn't do that, But for me, I mean, listen, I'm not trying to throw him under a bus, and I don't need to because the world is doing that. The world is judging them. I can't say anything. I've made my fair mistakes over the years, never to that extent, but I've certainly done things I regret. But when you look at the situation and you look at Conor McGregor, here's a guy that quite literally has the world at his feet. He's got untold wealth. He's absolutely fucking loaded. He could never work another day in his life, and he'll be able to live a very, very extravagant lifestyle.
Maybe not after this.
Well, maybe not after this. No, I think he's going to be okay. He's been a world champion. Okay, he's super successful in his chosen career. He's got over $100 million. People love him. Rightly or wrongly, everywhere he goes, people love him. He's got a beautiful fiance at home. He's got a child. He has got every reason to go through this life happy, with a smile on his face and just lose the chip. That would be my advice. Just lose the fucking chip on the shoulder, man. Yeah. And it's made me realize as well, because I've got a good life. I'm very, very lucky. And I thought about this. You see Conor going out there and doing this. I mean, what the hell are you doing? Why did you behave like that? Look at everything he has going for him. People would literally kill to be in his position. People dream of being in that position. And now he's in that position, he's going out there and acting like that. So he's only letting himself down. And I'm sure when I don't know where he is now. He's probably at home in Dublin. I can only imagine the earache of his girlfriend. I mean, if I went and did that, fucking I'd never hear the end of it. Of course, you got all the haters online, everyone talking shit. Yeah, he's got to deal with that. He's got to look at that. He's got to see that online. I'm sure when he sees that footage of him walking out the police station in handcuffs, yeah, for sure, this is one of his lowest moments, I would assume. Yeah. I would like to think so also. If it's not, then the guy has a problem. But, Conor's a pretty level-headed guy when it's all said and done. And he's a smart man as well. He is a smart man.
I think
you don't become as successful as what he is if you haven't got a brain on his shoulder. So, listen, very, very regrettable.
I think that he's 29 years old and he's got $1 bazillion. And when you have that much money, you're that young, 29 in the entertainment industry is like fucking 19 in real life, right? You age, it's a very immature thing. And he's also been very famous and very successful for probably like 5 years now. 4 or 5 years he's been pretty well known in the UFC.
3 years. 3 years.
Yeah, and he's gone from being like, but even before that, he's a successful fighter. It's sort of, not saying that fighters are all immature, but if that's what you're doing with your life from the time you're like, however old he was when he started fighting professionally until now, he's basically a kid, and he hasn't really had an opportunity to truly grow up. And he hasn't really had an opportunity to be responsible for his actions just yet. As a dad, that changes you, obviously. And obviously, I think that will change him. And that's really the thing for me, because, dude, I got a fucking temper and I've done stupid shit and I've fucking gone on rampages in public and fucking been an idiot. And then you look back and I think, I was like, God damn it, I have a fucking child at home. I have to, forget even just setting an example, I got to make it home to see him. And what was going on there with Conor and his friends is like they're throwing these huge pieces of metal around and they could have killed somebody. And that's where it's really irresponsible. This is where you go, forget everything else, fuck everything else. It's not just John Jones and Daniel Cormier getting into a scuffle at a weigh-in. This is taking gigantic pieces of metal and putting it through windows. You know, Ray Borg, I don't know, I didn't see the details on exactly what the injury was, but dude, if he went blind, that's his entire fight career. And that's kind of where you go, like it's another level. I've never seen such disregard for, you know, people's safety. And it's not just fighters. Fighters go into this contract of like, you know, Artem Lobov's a big boy. You know what I'm saying? People surround him. He's been there before. He's a fucking tough Russian fighter. You got a fucking UFC intern who's in that bus, who's just some chick who's been 23, who's got a press pass on, and she's fucking terrified for her life.
The problem is, Conor's always been rewarded for acting this way in the past, and that's been part of his appeal, part of his allure. He's very, very unpredictable. You know, over the years, he's done things like this before. I mean, nothing to this level, but you know, the water throwing incident, which pales in comparison. Bellator recently jumped into the cage and this and that, and he didn't really, nothing really came of that. He slapped an official, he dived in the cage, you know, nothing came of that. He got away with that. And you know, of course, his nickname is Notorious, but he is notorious now for kind of acting like that. But no one's really, he's never really had to pay a price for any of it. And every time he just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So he's almost rewarded for acting that way. As you say, you know, throwing that dolly through the window, I mean, that could have hurt someone. Thankfully, it didn't. Nothing too bad anyway. Michael Chiesa obviously had to withdraw from the fight, so that's a shame. I've heard from a third party that Michael Chiesa is definitely filing a lawsuit against him. So
if Michael
that's going to be a tricky
is
one.
Smart, he's going to sue Conor. He's going to sue the UFC. He's going to sue the
Barclays Center.
He's going to sue the maker of the dolly, whoever made that fucking dolly, the bus company. He's going to sue the Believe You Me podcast. He's going to sue the city of New York. He's going to sue fucking everybody that he could possibly sue if he has even one brain cell left in his fucking head, because that's the way it works. Let me tell you something, dude. Conor McGregor, believe me, he makes a lot of fucking money, dude, but what he should really be worried about is if somebody like Ray Borg just says, hey, dude, fuck it, I'm going to do the math, and saying I can never fight again is more valuable than the money that I'm going to make in my UFC career from suing him. You might just take that fucking paycheck. I know I would.
I'm just going to play devil's advocate here for a second, though, and just say, you know, yeah, of course, Ray Borg had pulled out of his fight, and of course, I'm sure he is injured. But when you look on the embedded, he had a pair of glasses on. Now, call me stupid, but surely a pair of glasses would shield any glass from getting into your eye.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right? You look on the embedded, he's standing there. There's nothing wrong with him. He isn't taking his glasses off and going, oh, my God, my eyes, bro, my eyes. He's standing there going, oh, shit, that was actually pretty awesome with a big pair of fucking glasses on. So,
hey, dude, look.
You know.
A lot of people think the earth is flat.
A lot of people are fucking morons. The earth is not flat, Lewis. Can we just get that right? Don't tell me you think the earth is flat.
No,
please.
I don't believe in any of these silly conspiracies, and I don't believe that Ray Borg faked an eye injury to get out of his fucking fight. No, not at all.
Neither do I. But I'm just saying, if I was on Team Conor, if I was on his legal team, I'd say, hold on a minute. He had a pair of fucking glasses on. Now, that said, microscopic pieces of glass could fall through the air and come in through the sides. You know, so connecting sleep to sports isn't easy, but here goes. Mattress Firm is America's neighborhood mattress store, and it should be your goal to check out the deals that they have going on every day. Their mattresses are softer than your rival's team's defense. They get a 10 out of tennis. You're going to love your new bed. Okay, all terrible dad jokes aside, head to mattressfirm.com/podcast and stretch your budget further than a gymnast before a floor routine.
Boom.
Listen, I'm not making fun of it. I mean, it's a shame for Ray Borg. Rose Namajunas was very upset. She was going to, she was upset. She was crying. She contemplated pulling out the fight for a while. Fortunately, she did it. She had a fantastic performance against Jan Jacek. We'll get into that later. And then after the fight, so not the fight, after the incident, then they all ran away. They all ran into the the shadows, like the rats that they were, and then went on the run for a little while. Yeah, I mean, you just couldn't make this up. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It's almost out of a movie. And the reality is, you know, here's just the truth. The big winner in all of it is the UFC, because there's no such thing as bad press.
I'll tell you this right now.
He's not happy. He's not happy. It's not great. But let me tell you something. Conor will fight again in the UFC. There's no way they're fucking going to cut him. The amount of eyes that are on the sport right now, to be honest with you, I stopped really caring about UFC 223. It just sort of injected this energy around the event. Like it was so fucking weird and bizarre, the whole thing. But I ended up getting offered tickets to go from a buddy of mine, like last minute. And I was like, dude, fuck it. I'm going to go and watch Ally Quinta try to fucking beat Khabib. This is kind of like intriguing, the whole thing. But
no, so Dana said he was disgusted by it. He said it was by far the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of him being involved with the company or the UFC, full stop. Nothing like this has ever happened. It's disgusting. This is worse than anything. It's criminal. Okay? Blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you right now, if that was fucking Ray Borg that threw a dolly through that, if that was Rafael Dos Anjos that did that, give me another name. If it was fucking anyone else, they'd be gone. They would be so fucking done in the org.
Octagon News.